Brandon here from thirstgym.com, and today we're talking about exercise called the front rack box squat. For this exercise, what you're going to need is your standard power bar in a position where you can get it from a front rack position or a front squat position, and a box squat box set somewhere around parallel. You can adjust the height as needed, whether you want to be slightly above, slightly below, or right at parallel. And essentially, we're just going to do a front squat with a box squat. And so it's really kind of weird to call it a front squat box squat, because that's really what it is, but we're just going to call it a front rack box squat just to keep terminology very clear here. With our front rack position, you got two options here. You can go with the good old classic clean front grip, where you have your fingers underneath the barbell, barbells across the chest, elbows are up high, where you would be able to unrack that barbell. Or you can go with the cross grip, same position across the shoulders, arms are going to come in a crisscross fashion. Grab that barbell with a couple fingers just to be a little more stable, and then you can come from that position. So then we want to make sure our box is set back slightly behind us, just so we got some space to walk into. I'm going to go with the higher side of my box here. I'm going to also go with a cross pattern just to make it easier for demonstration purposes. But we're going to come here, walk out, get in my normal squat pattern. Here, feet are in a normal squat stance. I'm going to keep my elbows up nice and tall. Break at the hips and knees same time, all the way down to the box, and then back up. So notice when I'm going to the box, I'm not relaxing on the box. I'm not just going and just kind of relaxing and then coming up. I'm still staying relatively tight, letting my hip flexor somewhat relax, still staying in a nice strong position. Feet are completely flat. I'm going to drive my shoulders up into the barbell so that way I don't get pitched forward, and then perform my squat pattern here. The other mistake you want to make sure is we're not going to just bounce off the box, so we don't want to go down, tap and go here. Don't want to do that. Big sit back here, and then come back to our front rack position. Now, this variation I like in particular for building into different front squat patterns and different front loaded patterns. It's also a great way to limit depth if you happen to need to do that, or limit the amount of hip flexion for some people, but you still want to get some good quality load from a squatting perspective so they still stay nice and upright. I'm a firm believer, working with youth athletes every single day, that starting with a front squat pattern leads to a good back squat pattern, but a good back squat pattern usually takes a while to develop a quality front rack pattern. We want to make sure we teach them how to stay nice and tall as much as possible before moving forward. But it's also just a great variation to build your front squat, build your lower body, build that strength from that position, getting that static overcome by dynamic, popularized by Louis Simmons, who coined really making the most out of the box squat, and it's just doing an anterior loaded variation of that. It is obviously just a very standard strength-based movement, so in which case I recommend doing it right from like 3 to 5 sets of 1 to 6 repetitions, anywhere that you would normally put your general heavy squat strength-based pattern in your training program. This will work, especially if you're having issues of falling forward, or you're just really trying to clean up your front rack position and your front squat position, or you're trying to build athletes into a front squat. There's lots of different ways you can benefit from this squat variation. If you haven't had any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks. Have a great day.